Hi everybody, good afternoon. How is everyone doing? How are you guys? How is your CLAT prep going on? So we are back with another contract session where in the last class we were understanding free consent, right? And we were done with coercion, undue influence, misrepresentation and fraud, right? Today in this session we'll be doing with mistake and capacity of parties if time is there, right? How is everyone doing? How is your CLAT prep going on? Good afternoon, Aditya. How are you? I'll just wait for another 2 minutes for everyone to join, otherwise we'll be starting up. Good afternoon, Priyam. How are you? Nothing is my grace, Aditya. It's God. It's God who's doing everything. I'll wait for just 2 minutes more and then we'll begin with the session, right? There's a very exciting news coming up for you guys. So, I don't know if I should reveal it right here, but okay. Let everyone join. Let's wait for 2 minutes and then I'll just announce it. Hello, Ayush. So the news is that, hi Jatin, how are you? So the news is that we are coming up with the Super 50 batch, right? Super 50. The batch will be called as Super 50. Any of the students who are like financially weak or they're not able to go to a proper coaching institute just because of the charges that coaching institutes the coaching institutes take. So we are coming up with a Super 50 batch with the heavy discounts available, like almost negligible cost for the batch, almost negligible, right? So we are coming up with that one particular batch where you will have to give a scholarship test, and on that basis we will be selecting those 50 students, right? So that we can help out those students who are not in a position to right now go ahead with their CLAT coaching just because of the money factor, right? So we are coming up with that batch. I hope that helps everybody out. It will be launched in just a day or two, and then you guys can move ahead with it. Right? So that Super 50 batch will be exclusively for the students who are a bit financially weak, or they are not like in a capable situation to go for the paid resources. So almost negligible cost, and we will be doing that one particular thing, right? Clear, everybody? Ma'am, test and everything would be how? It will be an online test, it will be a scholarship test, right? And how to apply for that, everything, every details will be given to you in just a day or two. Just wait for it. Everything will be supplied to the WhatsApp groups, right? Just a day or two, and it will be launched, and you will have all the details, right? Everything will be provided to you in that batch. Just the hard copies of the books will not be delivered at your place, but the books will also be available in the soft copy. So you don't have to worry about that, right? Everything, it's a win-win situation for everyone who is not in a position to right now go for a very expensive everything. The same faculties will be teaching you. You don't have to worry. We will not be compromising upon your resources. The same faculties will be teaching the same resources that we provide to our paid students. Everything will be provided to the students who will be getting enrolled in this Super 50 batch, right? The batch will be starting soon. It will be around 1st of July, or like the first week of July. So yes, right? Yes, thank you, Priyam. This opportunity was especially for the students who continuously tell us that they are not in a position to pay very high fees for the batches. So we are launching for that. How much we have to be prepared for that scholarship test? Nothing much. Basic reasoning test would be there. We're not keeping it way too difficult. Basic English reading comprehension, fully CLAT based paper only, but it will be in a direct form of questions, not much of a high difficulty level test, keeping it simple so that most of you can make the best use out of it, right? So that will be not very difficult, don't worry about it, right? And if we feel that there is a lot of students who are getting full marks, we might conduct an interview. We have not thought about it right now. Interview, we haven't thought about it. But yes, test will be there 100%. Right? Chalo, now let's begin with the session. Yes, I know, Aditya, you are excited. I know. Just wait for a day or two and you'll grab this opportunity. Yes, fine. Chalo. Now, let's begin with the session. We are already done with the consent part, in that we have already done the coercion, undue influence, misrepresentation and fraud, right? And now, today in this class, firstly, I'll tell you the difference between fraud and misrepresentation, right? Last session mein, we were not able to complete the difference between misrepresentation and fraud. So we will complete this first and then we'll move ahead with mistake, right? I hope I'm audible to everybody, right? Am I audible, everyone? I'm audible? Clearly audible? I'm audible? Just one thumbs up I need from you guys. Fine, chalo. Now, the difference between fraud and misrepresentation, right? The first one, fraud, intentional deception, right? In fraud, you are intentionally cheating a person, right? Intentional cheating. You want to deceive that particular person, right? Intentional cheating, intentional deceiving, right? Your intention is to cheat the other party. But in misrepresentation, it is the honest misstatement. You believe it to be true, but it turns out to be false later on. You initially believe it to be true. You honestly misrepresented something, right? That is what is called as misstatement. You believed it to be true, but now it turned out to be turned out to be false, right? Believes the statements to be false, believes the statement to be true in misrepresentation. Very clear difference. You know in fraud that the statement is false and you are telling that particular person that this statement is true from your end, but you know that you're cheating that particular person. You are saying a false statement. But in misrepresentation, you are actually stating a true statement, but later on it turns out to be false, right? Now, right to claim damages in fraud. In fraud, you can have a right to claim damages. जैसे कि मैंने आपको लास्ट क्लास में एक आयरन बॉक्स वाला एग्जाम्पल दिया था. If the shopkeepers knows that the iron box is defective and still he tells that the other party, the buyer, that the iron box is in a good condition, right? And later on, it turns out that the iron box is defective and the particular person faces injuries because of the explosion of the iron box. So this one particular person can claim damages for fraud. Damages can be claimed of whatever injuries has been caused, right? If the person intentionally, if the shopkeeper intentionally has done this one particular thing, that he or she has told that the iron box is not defective, but it turns out to be defective, the damages can be claimed, right? But here in misrepresentation, no right to claim damages because the person intention was not wrong. The person, it was a true statement that was given, and that is why the particular person does not have the right to claim damages, right? The damages cannot be claimed in misrepresentation. Only the contract will be turned voidable in misrepresentation, right? In fraud, the damages can be claimed, but in misrepresentation, the contract turns voidable. In fraud also, the contract turns voidable, but apart from voidable, the damages can also be claimed. Is it clear? Is it clear, everybody? Contract voidable even if truth could be found. Contract not voidable if truth could be found, right? अगर यहाँ पर misrepresentation में the person did not inquire about the iron box, right? अगर आप सच्चाई का पता लगा सकते थे but आपने नहीं लगाया, then it will not turn the contract voidable. Then it will not make the contract voidable. But in fraud, the contract is voidable. The contract is voidable. Clear, everybody? The difference between fraud and misrepresentation? Fraud and misrepresentation? Difference is clear? Let's move ahead with mistake. Let's move ahead. चलो ठीक है. Now mistake, section 20 of Indian Contract Act, right? See, the mistake is of two types, mistake of law and mistake of fact. The mistake is divided into two parts, mistake of law and mistake of fact, right? So we will study both the mistakes simultaneously, right? Now, mistake of law and mistake of fact. Understand, when you are taking this as a defense, that mistake of law, कि आपको law नहीं पता था, right? Let's first say A and B enters into a contract where A tells B that murder C for me, right? And for that I will give you 50,000 rupees, right? Is this a valid contract? Is this a valid contract? Tell me. No. Why? Unlawful object. Unlawful object. Okay. But can this one particular person, now let's for say another thing is that this contract happened and B killed C, right? And later on B was taken into the court. B was taken into the court. Can he take a defense that this was a mistake of law and I did not know the law? That killing is illegal. That killing is illegal. I didn't know that. Mistake of law is a crime. Yes. See, mistake of law is again of two types. Mistake of Indian law and mistake of foreign law. अगर आप एक Indian citizen हो and then you are claiming that you do not know the Indian law, the country that you live in, अगर आपको उसी का law नहीं पता है, then it is not voidable. मतलब आप इस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के लिए यू आर एब्सोल्युटली रिस्पॉन्सिबल, यू विल बी लाइबल एंड इस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के लिए ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट प्रॉपर वैलिड माना जाएगा. यू कैन नॉट टेक अ डिफेंस दैट यू डिड नॉट नो द लॉ एंड यू विल बी हेल्ड लाइबल फॉर द एक्ट दैट यू हैव डन. Indian law, the country that you stay in, you should be better knowing the law of that country. Every man should know the law of their own country. Right? Right? Is this clear? It will be not a voidable contract. It is valid. You would be held liable for it. You would be held liable for it. Clear? Now coming to the foreign law. Treated as a mistake of fact, that means the contract is void. अगर आपको पता चल जाता है, right? If you get to know that you don't know the foreign law, because you are not bound to know the law of every country, right? You are not bound to know the law of the every country. अगर आप एक ऐसा कोई contract बनाते हो, let's for say A, B, right? A is an Indian, right? And B is a Australian, right? Now A does a contract with B of supplying 100 kgs of apple at the rate of $70, whatever, right? Whatever. But there is a law in Australia that supplying more than 70 kgs of apple in one tranche at one go is illegal. Is illegal, right? Is illegal. Now this contract turns to be void because A, as an Indian citizen, is not bound to know the law of Australia as well, and that is why this contract will turn void. This contract will turn void. Mistake of Indian law and mistake of foreign law. Clear? Is it clear? Mistake of Indian law and mistake of foreign law. ठीक है. Is this clear? Moving ahead with mistake of fact. Mistake of fact. Mistake of fact is again of two types, bilateral mistake and unilateral mistake. Bilateral mistake means both the parties are under a mistake. Both the parties does not know a fact, right? Let me give you an example. A wants to buy a horse from B, right? For rupees 50,000, right? Now what happens is that B does not know that the horse is dead already. The horse has died. Only B's servant knows by the time he was doing a contract. B's servant knows, but B doesn't know. And A also doesn't know that the horse is dead. The horse is dead. Both the parties doesn't know this fact. Can there be a contract between the parties when the horse has only died? Tell me, can there be a contract that can be done? Batao? No. Why? 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 Because both the parties are under a mistake. जब कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर रहे थे तब दोनों ही पार्टीज को नहीं पता that the contract subject matter has already been destroyed. Subject matter है ही नहीं जिसके लिए वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं, right? Right? And that is why it is a bilateral mistake and it will turn void. That means null and zero in the eyes of law. In the eyes of law, null and zero. Right? Now unilateral mistake. Unilateral mistake. Let's first say in the same example, if B knew that the horse is died, but A doesn't know. B knows here that the horse has died. He just want to take some money from, he just want to have some money from A. B knows, right? B knows that the horse has died. Then what will happen? Then if his intention is absolutely to cheat A, then the contract will be valid. If he knows that the horse has died and still he entered into the contract, then he will have to either return the money of 50,000 or either he will have to give the horse to A. Anyhow, any other horse, if A agrees. Otherwise, he will have to restitute 50,000 to A. Is it clear? Bilateral mistake and unilateral mistake? Everybody? Is it clear? Chalo, let's move ahead. Now, when a contract is void due to mistake, contract void कब बनेगा because of mistake? Under section 20. Both the parties are under a mutual mistake. Again, as I told you, in bilateral mistake, right? The mistake must relate to a fact essential to the agreement. Horse वाले example में horse was the essential part. Horse was the subject matter of the contract. तो अगर कोई भी subject matter से related mistake हो रहा है, then it will turn the contract void. It will turn the contract void. Unilateral में तो A को नहीं पता, तो फिर ये तो illegal हुआ ना मैम. A को नहीं पता but B को तो पता है ना, तो वो क्यों enter कर रहा है contract? तो वो क्यों एंटर कर रहा है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, राइट? तो वैलिड होगा. ए ने अगर उसको एडवांस पेमेंट दे दिया है तो वो रिटर्न करना होगा या फिर उसको हॉर्स प्रोवाइड करना पड़ेगा, राइट? द फैक्ट मस्ट बी द वेरी रूट ऑफ द अग्रीमेंट. अगेन रिलेटेड टू द सब्जेक्ट मैटर. सी द इलस्ट्रेशंस. If one party offers to sell one horse and the other party thinks it's another house, there is no real consent and the agreement is void. One house, जैसे कि मैंने आपको ब्लैक हाउस और व्हाइट हाउस वाला एग्जाम्पल दिया था. इफ वन पार्टी इज थिंकिंग ब्लैक हाउस, अनदर वन इज थिंकिंग व्हाइट हाउस, बोथ आर अंडर अ बायलैटरल मिस्टेक. दोनों को ही नहीं पता कि कौन सी चीज के बारे में बात हो रही है, एंड इट विल टर्न द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एज void. As the contract as void, right? A agrees to buy from B a certain horse. It turns out that the horse was dead at the time of the bargain. Though neither party was aware of the fact, the agreement is void. The agreement is void, right? But agar if one party knew, it will be valid. It will be valid. Just take a minute and read out this slide. Very important slide. Just read out once and see if you have any doubt related to mistake. Read out it for a minute. Is it clear? Has everybody read it? Is it clear? Tell me. Is it clear? Tell me. बताओ. Ma'am, in unilateral mistakes, the contract should become voidable now. No, it will be valid. Unilateral mistake में, because one party has the intention to cheat and the one party ये valid contract को बनाएगा because of the fact that one party clearly knew the fact that it was the party that was mistaken can choose to make it valid or void, I guess. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You're right here. Fine. Now the next topic that we are going to start is capacity of parties. What is the eligibility of a person to enter into a contract under Indian Contract Act? Under Indian Contract Act, Section 11. Very important topic. One passage from this one particular topic, 100% confirmed. 100%. One passage from this topic. Very important. very very important, pay due attention. ठीक है? Section 11 of the Indian Contract Act 1872. This section specifies that every person is competent to contract if they are of the age of majority, right? They are giving you 3 conditions over here. First one is the age of majority. According to the law, they are subject to, are of sound mind. Sound mind. First is age of majority, sound mind. Second condition, and are not disqualified from contracting by law. Third condition. So the first is minors are void, right? Minors are void. Unsound mind, disqualified by law. Third condition. Is it clear? The 3 conditions. Now let's see them one by one. Agreement by minors. If anybody is under the age of 18 years and entering into a contract, right? Anybody who is under the age of 18 years and is doing a contract. An agreement with a minor is void from the start, making it not enforceable. It cannot be enforced, right? It cannot be enforced. It is absolutely void ab initio, null and zero from the very beginning. Any contract with the minor is null and zero from the very beginning. There is this very famous case law, Moheri Bibi versus Dharmodas Ghosh. You must have heard about this case law. Very, very important. Landmark judgment for agreement by minors. Nobody, no coaching institute will teach you this case law. You will go to the law school and this is the first case law that will be taught to you in the law of contracts when you teach, when you being taught agreement by minors, right? Mr. D, a minor, mortgaged his house for rupees 20,000 but received rupees 8,000 from the lender. Later, Mr. D sued to cancel the mortgage, right? The contract was void since Mr. D was a minor and he was not liable to repay the lender. What happened in this case was that there was a minor who wanted some money, so he mortgaged the property, his house, to a money lender, right? And the money lender gave 20,000 to the minor, right? And the minor misrepresented his age. The minor misrepresented his age, and that is where, when this cancellation of the thing was happening, because the mortgage, in this one particular case, it was held that the contract with the minors is void ab initio. Later on, this judgment was overruled in the cases of restitution, but for now, all you have to remember is that the contract with minor is void ab initio, right? Generally, a minor cannot be required to return the benefits received under a void agreement. However, in some cases, the court may require the minor to compensate the other party. Money cannot be restored, but the goods can be. So what has said in this case was, what are they saying? That restitution is not possible in the case of minors. Restitution means exchanging back whatever was exchanged between the parties, right? So what are they saying? Restitution is not possible in the cases of minors, क्योंकि अगर आपने restitution ही करा दिया तो that means आप contract को valid बना रहे हो. अगर exchange हो रहा है parties के बीच में, तो अगर आप वो possible कर रहे हो, then restitution is not possible in the case of minors, because indirectly you will making the contract valid, right? And that is why money can never be restored in the minors case. Only the goods can be restored. Money cannot be restored, but the goods can be restored. But this is a very high level thing that I have taught you. The one thing that you have to remember over here is that any contract with a minor is void. Any contract with the minor is void. Is it clear, everybody? Is it clear? No. In this case, so minor have to return 8,000 to the lender or not? No. Money is not returned. That is why this judgment was overruled later on, right? In this judgment, it was not returned. Later on, this judgment was overruled, right? You don't have to study that, don't worry. Just keep one thing in mind, money cannot be restored and any contract with the minor is void. Just two things, keep that in mind, right? But contract for the benefit of a minor, certain exceptions where the contract with minor is valid. Where the contract with the minor is valid, right? So, certain exceptions that you have to see here. Contract by guardian. Contracts for the benefit of a minor by their guardian or the manager of their estate within the scope of their guardian's authority are valid. Let me give you an example. A, B. A is a minor and H and W are the parents of A, right? H and W are the parents of A. Now A is not in a condition to travel abroad because of his health conditions. And this husband and wife, that means the parents of A, have to travel abroad for some reason and they cannot take minor with them, right? For 2 months. For 2 months, right? So now B is the neighbor of H and W, that means the whole family, A, right? Now what happens is that H and W on behalf of A enters into a contract with B to take care of A till the time they come back for 2 months, to supply all the necessities, for taking care of his education, of his expenses, everything, right? So this contract is valid. Any contract done by the guardian on behalf of the minor is valid. This contract is valid. Contract is valid. Right? Another one is contract for the supply of necessities. Same example. Necessities include food, clothes, shelter, education, etc. These contracts are valid even if entered into a minor or their guardian. अगर ऐसा कोई भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट माइनर एंटर करता है अपनी नेसेसिटीज पाने के लिए, देन इन दिस वन पर्टिकुलर केस दिस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विल बी वैलिड एंड दिस वन पर्टिकुलर नेबर, लेट्स टेक एन एग्जाम्पल, 2 महीने बाद ये पेरेंट्स वापस आए और इन्होंने नेबर को रेस्टिट्यूट करने के लिए मना कर दिया. नेबर ने जितना एक्सपेंस किया था, लेट्स फॉर से नेबर डिड एन एक्सपेंस ऑफ 70,000 in 2 months on the minor, right? And now the parents are refusing to give 70,000 to the neighbor. The parents are refusing to give 70,000 to the neighbor. Is that possible? Making this contract valid, is that possible? Can neighbor sue the parents in the court for this 70,000? Yes or no? Jaldi batao. Yes or no? बताओ. Tell me. No? Why no? When I told you, Priyam, that the contract is valid. Why no? Yes. Yes. I am teaching you the exceptions where the contract with the minor will be valid. So the neighbor can sue and the neighbor can take back 70,000 from the parents of A or from the property of property of the minor. If the parents still refuse, right? If the parents still refuse, then neighbor has two options. Either sue the parents in court and take back the money, or claim money from minor's property. Is it clear, everybody? समझ में आया प्रियम? Is it clear? बताओ जल्दी से. We'll move ahead. जल्दी से टॉपिक खत्म करते हैं आज. Now, second condition that we saw was person of unsound mind, right? Section 12 of the Indian Contract Act 1872 defines a sound mind as a capable of understanding the contract and forming a rational judgment about its effect on their interest at the time of contracting, right? Occasionally sound mind can contract during intervals of soundness. Occasionally unsound mind cannot contract during the period of unsoundness. Simple सा तरीका बताती हूँ समझने का. Very, very easy to understand. Let's take two timelines, right? This is a person A who is sometimes of unsound mind, sometimes of sound mind, right? This person is of, यहाँ पर at this timeline he is of sound mind, at this time he is of unsound mind, and here also he is of sound mind, right? And at this one particular point he is entering into a contract, when he is unsound. Is this a valid contract? Aditya will solve this problem, don't worry. We'll solve this problem. We'll see what is happening. पहले ये बताओ, अगर यहाँ पर वो साउंड माइंड का है, यहाँ पर भी वो साउंड माइंड का है, बट यहाँ पर बीच में वो अनसाउंड माइंड का है, और जब वो अनसाउंड माइंड का है तभी वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में एंटर कर रहा है. इज दिस अ वैलिड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट? नो, right? Because at the time of entering into the contract he is of unsound mind, and that is why it will not be a valid contract. चलो एक और एग्जाम्पल देती हूं. सेम टाइमलाइन, ठीक है, बट यहां पर चेंजेस क्या है? दैट हियर द पर्सन इज ऑफ अनसाउंड माइंड, हियर द पर्सन इज ऑफ अनसाउंड माइंड, बट हियर द पर्सन इज ऑफ साउंड माइंड, ठीक है. एंड हियर व्हेन ही इज ऑफ साउंड माइंड ही इज एंटरिंग इनटू अ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. नाउ विल दैट बी अ वैलिड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट? यहां पे अनसाउंड माइंड, यहां पे अनसाउंड माइंड, यहां पे साउंड माइंड है जब वो एंटर कर रहा है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में. विल दैट बी अ वैलिड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट? बताओ, विल दैट बी अ वैलिड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट? yes. okay. Yes, it will be a valid contract. So what conclusion do we come here? The conclusion that we come here is that at the time of the making of the contract, at the time of entering into the contract, we have to see that whether is the person of sound mind or unsound mind. If at the time of entering into the contract it is irrelevant, आगे पीछे whatever, आगे पीछे it is totally irrelevant, but at the time of entering into the contract, if the person is of sound mind, it is a valid contract, and if the person is of unsound mind, it is invalid contract. आगे पीछे कोई मतलब नहीं है, not here, not here. at the time of entering into the contract if the person is of unsound mind, invalid, sound mind, valid. Clear? A patient in a lunatic asylum can contract during intervals of sanity, right? Causes of unsound mind कहाँ से हो सकती है, right? Idiocy, permanent incapacity from birth, right? Delirious persons, temporary incapacity due to fever or other conditions. Hypnotized persons, temporary incapacity due to hypnosis. Mental decay due to old age or poor health. Lunacy, temporary with the periods of sanity, lucid intervals, right? There are certain cases of unsoundness of mind. So any of these conditions, whenever the person has an interval of sanity, when the person is of sound mind, then that particular person can enter into a contract with that particular other party and the contract will be valid whenever their intervals are of sanity, right? Everybody clear? Clear everybody? Chalo. Now, persons disqualified by law, third condition and the last condition. Third condition and the last condition. Persons disqualified by law. Body corporate or corporation can only act within the scope of their memorandum of association. Any company can enter into a contract only with accordance to their memorandum of association. The parties cannot enter into a contract with a company in their individual capacity. The company will enter into a contract only on the basis of memorandum of association that they have created. Right? Alien enemy, any country who we have war with, right? Foreigners from enemy states who we are enemy with cannot contract without government permission, right? Right? Any country who is our enemy alien, who is our enemy, right? We cannot enter into a contract with the citizens of that country without government permission. Without government permission, right? Convict cannot contract during imprisonment. Any person who is a convict, who is convicted of any offense, we cannot enter into a contract with that particular person who is in a jail, who is serving imprisonment. As soon as the person is out of the jail and he has served his imprisonment, he can enter into a contract. जैसे ही अपना imprisonment serve करके the person will come, he has the right to enter into the contract again. Right? Right? जब तक imprisonment serve कर रहा है जेल में, no right to enter into a contract. But as soon as the imprisonment is over and out of jail, the person can enter into the contract. Right? Insolvent cannot contract relating to their property while insolvent. Any person who is insolvent cannot enter into a contract with related to their property, right? With related to their property, right? Because उनके पास कुछ है ही नहीं, insolvent, right? So how they can contract with their property? The subject matter cannot be their property. Foreign sovereigns and diplomats can contract, but lawsuits against them require government sanction. आप फॉरेन सॉवरेन्स और डिप्लोमेट्स हु आर स्टेइंग इन आवर कंट्री, आप उनके साथ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट तो कर सकते हो, लेकिन अगर कोई भी डिस्प्यूट होता है और आपको केस करना पड़े उन पे, देन इट विल रिक्वायर गवर्नमेंट सैंक्शन. इट विल रिक्वायर गवर्नमेंट सैंक्शन. Is it clear, everybody? Is it clear? Tell me. Batao, is this topic clear? I hope this is clear. चलो ठीक है. Now in the next session, which will be happening next week probably, we'll be solving the questions of capacity to parties and the mistake part that we have done, right? This will be held in the next session. Till then, I'll see you in the next one. Start revising your topics. CLAT is not far away, right? And second thing, I've already announced that we are launching a Super 50 batch. Stay tuned about it. We are launching the details very, very soon, right? And this will be exclusively for the students who genuinely want to clear CLAT in one go this year, right? We are shortly coming up with that. Do not worry. And till then, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. All the best for your preparation. Bye-bye, everybody.